Hello and welcome to this review of the F-84-G Thunderjet from Hella. This is the first jet that was used by the Patrouille de France, the French aerobatic team, which I never know if I'm saying right or not, and that's the reason I'm building this kit. I actually have pretty much zero interest in making this model at all. That will become very apparent later on. But yeah, I'm basically trying to build every single aircraft at the Patrouille de France in almost chronological order, famously, because I had to build the Ouragan, the MB450 first, because I didn't have all the parts I needed for this. I was actually using some additional decals, or decals by High Decal or High Decals, for the Patrouille de France markings, for their first display that they ever did, and they hadn't arrived in time. And you couldn't do it with just what was in the box with Hella, so I thought, hey, I'm not going to delay the project. If I do, I'll never get it started, so I'm just going to start based on what I have today. So, construction was very, very easy. It's one of the easiest kits I've done, and I believe, again, this is an old mold, much like the Ouragan. It's an old kit, old mold, but it's quite a cheap model, and that's worth considering the whole time. I think I got this for like £6-7, which, especially in today's economy, honey, that is cheap to get. And I recommend, if you can get this, just do it. Like, if you just want something to fill the time and you're not really sure what project to do, this is a good one to go for. It came with markings. I think it came with markings for a couple of Air Forces, but I can't quite remember. I know it definitely had France on there, and I know the High decals I had came with, I think, Greece, maybe? And also France again. So you do get quite a lot there. I think there were like 2 different options potentially with the Hella kit that I can't quite remember, if I'm honest. Check the actual review that I wrote to see that in more detail. As I said, the construction was very simple and it didn't take me very long to do. In fact, I think this is probably easier than the Ouragan, and considering the Ouragan took me probably about half an hour, 40 minutes to do, this took me even less time. The delays were mainly making sure I was doing things right. I was still relatively impressed with the cockpit. It didn't look awful, which, again, considering its age, you know, I'm quite pleased with. Oh, there you go. You can see some of the decals there. You can get Danish and United States. Huzzah! I left it in there. But yeah, you can do quite a lot with these decals. Sorry, with this kit, and it doesn't look bad. You know, I was really not into this kit at all. I really didn't care about it. I just wanted to get it done. But like, you can see here, it had seat belts for decals. And I spent ages trying to make them like sort of loop a bit, but I couldn't quite do it. But, you know, it actually looks pretty good. Like, for an old kit, the decals really take it up a notch. And I was really, really impressed. So I definitely recommend this kit if you can get it. Like, I've said that a couple of times. So I'm just going to address the elephant in the room, me not enjoying this kit. Because I feel like modelling is something you should do for fun, not because you feel like you have to. Unless you're doing it as like a commission or something, of course. But I'm doing it for fun. So when I have to do a subject that I'm not particularly interested in, it makes it quite difficult because I want to just get through it, to be honest. And that's how I felt with this. I should have done weathering on this kit. I didn't. I should have paid more attention to detail. I didn't. So please don't judge the end result too harshly. It's not a result of the kit itself, nor really is it a result of the decals. It's just that I genuinely didn't have much focus or attention for this kit. That's also why I made some mistakes on it. That comes in form of both how I use the decals, but also in terms of the actual painting of the model itself, as we'll see shortly, sorry. So yeah, it wasn't a bad kit by any means. You can see I put some putty on the wing. I think there were like tiny little gaps, which I find in a lot of older kits, to be honest, from various different like manufacturers, particularly things like Matchbox tend to have them. So it's not the end of the world. I was using some reference material, as you can see there, and I think it might pop up on screen later, but I was using reference photos to try and make sure I was making it sort of as accurately as possible. And I made some mistakes, guys. And on the bottom of the wing, it's quite bad, but I sort of just went, you know what? I'm not that into this. I'm not going to worry about it. No one's going to see it anyway. And as long as I point out that it's my error, that's what it is, you know? So I started off painting the whole thing in silver, which is already a mistake. Because there's meant to be a lot of red on it and some black on it. But instead, I didn't think about that. I did the whole thing in silver and then I put acrylic varnish on it. Because I'm really, really smart sometimes, guys. As you can see, I'm going back here and putting red on. This is Ferrari red, if I remember correctly. So this is Revell Aqua Colour again. Both colours used, in fact all of the colours used in this model are Revell Aqua Colour. They are my preferred choice of modelling paint. For some reason people seem to never recommend them. I think they come out great if you are hand brushing. I guess it's because a lot of people, if you do it professionally or like a super into model making, don't really do hand brushing or hand painting, whereas I do. And I think these are fantastic for hand painting. So there you go. You can see that I've forgotten to do the wingtips there. This will become painfully obvious later. Believe you me. I think the wingtips are black actually. Or there's some black on them on the tips, I think. Yeah, I did this a little bit of a time ago. Unfortunately, it's just taken me a bit of time to get the video done, so I do apologise for that. So the painting actually wasn't too bad. I think I did the rest of the painting off stream because it was sort of whilst I was like sat looking at some pictures, I was like, oh, that's entirely wrong. Like I've done it almost entirely wrong. So I basically just went back and fixed it, and then I came on stream and was like, huzzah, she is fixed. And you're about to see that anyway. I didn't use the included decals that much, as we've already established. You can see the high decal ones. I think they're the high decal ones. And they're what I'm going to use for the entirety of this kit. Is the high decal decals make this a subject that I had some passing interest in. Because the F-84 is just not something I'm particularly bothered about otherwise, I'll be really, really honest with you. It's a really important aircraft, but it's just not for me, and that's absolutely fine. You don't have to be into every aircraft. It's just a shame when you want to do a complete set and there's one that you like just don't care about at all, which is just how it was for me. The painting of it went quite easily. I say there's like a silver square you had to leave. This model is very much like, you can tell it came from the USAF, United States Air Force, and just got given to France. So let's point out some things. How that wing is on the bottom of the screen, where it's got the black sort of square outline, that's too thick a square, I'm aware of that. It also was meant to be the same underneath, which I didn't realise, so I did it entirely red underneath. I think my black lines are about the right thickness, but they made me slightly too thick, like the kind of chunky black lines. Other than that, I think I did an okay job. I did lose one of the high decal decals on the tail section because it sort of folded on itself, and as soon as it did that, I could not unfold it. I tried with a knife, I tried really carefully, and I just couldn't. So I went, you know what, I'll paint over it, and it'll almost look like they were bringing it into service and they had to like scrub something out or something. That's the headcanon for me, that's how I'm justifying the model. I did use the kit French roundels on top of a red and white base that came with the high decal ones, purely because they were more vibrant and I didn't have to do 4 layers, which I was massively opposed to. So bear that in mind. Same with the French flags. Also the colour, the keying of the colours for the blue on the high decal ones is different to the Hello one. The Hello one seems more accurate to me. Again, part of the reason I went for it. You can see that I just got red on the bottom there as well, which is unfortunate. I will say the layering of the decals was really, really easy. It was actually weird. I've never really seen it where it's like got one country's markings on top of another. Like, it's not something I've personally ever had to do. I've seen it, obviously. But it was a really unique experience. And you know what? I didn't hate it at all. Applying the decals was actually quite a pleasant experience. It was the most fun I had the entire model kit. Especially the wingtip bits, I thought they were quite cool. I applied them and then painted, I sort of painted some of the black. Realised I painted too much and I just painted the silver over the top, and it was fine because, you know, black's a really nice colour to paint over. And yeah, you know what, I hand painted a lot of this and it increased my confidence quite a lot. So considering this is a subject I had zero interest in, I think in the end we got something that actually looked pretty cool, which is good, you know. If you can do something you hate that you end up getting a really nice result from, then that's a win for everyone, surely. You can see me doing the cockpit now, obviously off screen because I'm holding it up to my face like an idiot, because that's the only way I can do it. But hey ho, in the end it looked really good. I did actually lose this by the side of my bed at one point, one of the cockpit pieces, but luckily I found it, so I didn't have to redo it or buy another kit to replace it. There you go, that's it. Let's have a look at what we've got. That's what the images we're going to have coming up on the screen in a second. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, please feel free to drop me a subscribe. I do also stream model building on Twitch on Saturdays and Sundays as Ms. Modeler, so find me on there. The link is in the description as well. And yeah, see you later. Bye!